Thank you, Mr. President. It's always a good day when we can be focused on students, parents, the future of our state. And while we do have some disagreements, obviously, ultimately, we seem to come together in May on some of the overall initiatives. I believe we offered a constructive amendment that we just defeated, which addressed the fundamental concern about breathing room at the schools, and we support that. But we emphasize the importance of continuing the mission, for example, in the social studies standards, and that parents and teachers and others are involved, and they're asking for this to continue. You can't put in a deep freeze knowledge, especially when you've been waiting for 10 years as statutorily required. Moreover, the department has said, and the volunteers have said, we can do it. I won't read the whole letter, but the 38 members of the Social Studies Review Committee, they're somewhat disillusioned, disheartened, but they're going to meet again on the 26th. And one of the co-chairs is from Deer River, I believe, and his name is Matt Karlstrom. I just want to read a couple of his comments. He's a track coach and does a lot of things in the community. And he wanted to get involved in this. He said, more importantly, I recognize that only about half of my students, he's in the Deer River area, half of my students were represented in the standards, and they need to be changed. Minnesota is changing demographically, economically, culturally, and our education system should rise to address these changes and support all students, regardless of color. In order to do so, all of our students must see themselves represented in that education so that they can work together to create a better tomorrow. One of the greatest obstacles Minnesota faces is the achievement gap. The University of Chicago has done research that prove that having an inclusive education where BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, students see themselves representing, that narrows the gap. And then he concludes, change can be tense, but that's okay. That's what leadership and governing are all about, says Matt Karlstrom. Listening to people share their stories and outline their goals, and then digging in and working collaboratively to produce, in this case, the best standards that are inclusive and representative of our changing demographics and are aware of our history, our warts and all. If we want the great state of Minnesota to continue to be a national leader, we must give all of our citizens, all of them, the opportunity to see themselves and hear their stories in our K-12 public schools. The committee feels strongly. They're meeting March 26th. And members, I doubt that this will ultimately become law. And the standards will hopefully continue and get its work done for students and parents that are counting on this. Yes, there is some relief, but you know how I spell relief? Due north, the WALLS plan for $150 million in recovery for our schools. Let's put that up as soon as possible. Most of it is federal money anyway. We liberated, I guess there was approval today for $57.5 million, and that was from an earlier federal bill. Let's provide real relief. We can do it. I'm opposing this bill, though, because it falls short. Vote red.